Hello and welcome. This is James Woolley, and today I am going to be going through my honors project proposal and a quick little demo of what I have so far. So the bulk of my project is to construct a simulation of the evolution of religion based on a number of factors, the main ones being religion and how it's affected by government, culture, and language. And there'll be several other factors as I'm going on that also add to this. And I will be using I will be utilizing the findings and practices of generative social science and agent-based simulation. That's basically the way I'm going to be creating the final simulation. And so in order to produce the simulation, I've been doing a lot of reading on relevant textbooks, and textbooks being on the simulation side and then the religious evolution side. I'm hoping to produce bi-weekly progress reports on the project, and I'm hoping to use Pivotal Tracker as a way of showing my progress to myself and for those members of my honors committee. And basically I'll be in these reports I'll say what I've done for the week, what issues I've ran into, and what I plan to get done the next week, utilizing some of the skills that I developed in software engineering. So I also, certain contingencies might arise in this project. If my simulation, so my plan is that I'm hoping that my simulation, if I set it up accurately to, a situation in, Earth history, that possibly when I run it, it might look a little bit like what actually happened. And that's sort of the goal and the standard of this project, is to get as close as possible to modeling the religious spread. And and if that ends up not happening, I'll have a lot to write and say about what went wrong in the project. So, even if it ends up going wrong, I can talk about why my simulation ended up not working, and talk about simulation stuff in general that I learned. So the real goal of this project is to increase my knowledge of my two fields of study, computer science and history, and to show how both fields can be utilized together. My simulation will help me get a better understanding between the relationships between religion, government, and society. I will also be expanding on the body of critical analysis on simulation. I must also adopt a theoretical framework in order to simulate as much as known about religious evolution as possible. And ultimately I'll have to figure out try to get my simulation to be useful for modeling these things. And yeah, so this is the demo I made for my religious simulation. I've been working on this for a while, but yeah, so sort of what's going on here, I'll open it up again, I'll shut it down and then run it again. So basically what happens in this little demo is, there's a lot that's, this demo doesn't have that I ultimately want to be in my simulation, but this is kind of like a rough start. So you can see these are little tribes, and immediately they change color, and that's basically to reflect what nationality they start out as. And at a certain point, the tribe will get enough people to settle a city, and basically that happens randomly for now. But ultimately, I want various factors to be involved. And all right, so the tribes are settling, and they kind of the different nationalities haven't come into contact with each other yet. But when they do, what happens is if two tribes or two cities, they're both called population centers. They're subclasses of the same population center class. And basically what happens is when two cities are next to each other, they'll fight. And so both cities, depending on the technology level of each population center, one of them will lose population. And that's what happened there, is that city ended up losing all of its members, and it ended up dying. So ultimately, if you run this pretty quickly, what you'll see happen is it seems like the light purple faction has taken over a lot of the screen. It's taken over 3/4 of it, and so the darker purple is here. And what will ultimately happen is, because the blue seems like it's developed more technology, it's eventually going to push purple all the way into non-existence. You can see that already blue is catching up on old territory, and now that nationality has swallowed everything else up. You can also this is also based in the grid world. It's basically, it was a case study for the AP Computer Science test that allows you to to have little objects little actors interact with each other in the tile grid. I had to reprogram it so that there could be these things called tiles. Basically a tile, ultimately I hope every tile to have a resource type, so that the population centers can interact with the tile they're in, and yeah, that's kind of the idea. Right now I just set them all to green, but ultimately I sort of want to use Perline noise to generate like biomes, water, and yeah, so that's the ultimate goal. And we can see like what statistics you can get from these individual classes. Each has a nationality, so this is nationality 1, and then there's also a parent nationality. So I guess that didn't work in this case, but the parent nationality is basically when the various factions start out on the map. I'll run another one. So basically the parent nationality will be, what nationality it started out as, what nationality, these tribes, and then all of their children will share the same parent nationality, even if the populations change their nationality, because there's a random chance too of the populations to change their nationality. And also, when two population centers have the same nationality, they don't attack each other. Only population centers that have different nationalities, and so they can have the same parent nationality. They could have spawned from the same original parent, but then still fight each other if one group of cities basically secedes from the other one. Ultimately, this is not what I want to do, but this is just sort of a general idea, and a demo of what it's going to look like. Also, right now there is a religion, and it works basically the exact same way as nationality. I just gotta make. I just basically have to, ultimately like implement religion to be a real thing, instead of just something that cities just randomly have and has no effect on their growth and stuff like that. So ultimately that's the goal, but this is just a test, and I added religion into there just to see what it would do. You can also, in the runner, I think if you go into the runner, you can like specify it's called a turtle world. You can specify it to have more tiles. So I'm going to say add 1,000 tiles, and we'll see what happens. Okay, I thought that worked, but it doesn't seem to have worked. But the goal was to basically be able to enter in the size of the turtle world. So yeah, thank you very much for listening to this. So this is again the my honors quick demo presentation that I'm basically making for the end of the term. Sort of discussing mostly the demo. So over the winter, I am going to be developing the real version of the simulation, and I think that I'm gonna probably do program it myself, and I'm just gonna use buttons because I want to have the ability to do some things I can't do in Grid World, like basically run it without showing the graphics. So that's kind of the that's the goal, is during the winter, is with all the research I've done, which I didn't touch on in this presentation because it's already gone a little bit long, but I'm hopefully the first progress report I'm going to do is going to list all of the books I read. I'm going to try to write little short reviews, like keep my notes updated. Basically I have an honors folder which I've shared with every member of my committee, I believe. And right now it only has this demo which I created. It's the 0612 version, and I also have all my application materials in here, which is useful if you want to see this written proposal that I was showing you. And it also has some other documents which might be useful, like my unofficial transcript, I guess. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this, and I hope to have a lot of progress done in the project after winter break. I'm super excited to finish this project, finish the simulation during the winter. I've been actually kind of working on this for many years. You can see that the first version of this I released in 2014, and since then basically I didn't change the date from the original date I gave it, but like I've made a bunch of progress on modifying Grid World and creating the turtle world, and to model this thing I want to model. And I'm really happy that I'm able to pursue this project with the help of my honors committee. So thank you very much for being a part of my honors committee, and I hope to have more reports coming to you shortly after finals. So thank you very much again, and I will see you later. Goodbye.